Welcome back to another Micmac tabletop review. Today we'll be disassembling and reassembling a Mauser 1910 pistol. These steps are the same for the Mauser 1914 and Mauser 1934 pistol as well. This is basically a Mauser 1910, 1914, and 1934 disassembly and reassembly video. The steps are the same for these Mauser pistols. If you're only interested in disassembly, skip ahead to 402. If you're only interested in reassembly, skip ahead to 1143. A while back I bought an old pistol that wouldn't fire. A 100-year-old Mauser 1910 25 caliber pocket pistol. I got it cheap because it had a couple of functioning issues. If I could get it to work, I might have made a pretty good deal. If not, I had a parts gun. I was hoping the problems with this little gun might be a simple fix, but to find out I had to completely disassemble it. So that's why I made this video. I don't usually go through complete disassembly and reassembly during my reviews, but in my videos where I have done that, these instructional videos have turned out to be quite popular. So I thought I'd try that here, especially because many people don't realize how easy these Mauser pistols are to disassemble and reassemble without the need for special tools or expertise. In addition, these steps are the same for the Mauser 1910, the Mauser 1914, and the Mauser 1934 pistols as well. So let's get to it. And I hope you find my instructions to be clear and complete. Oh yeah, you probably want to know if I was successful in my efforts to get this little gun to work. In a word, yes, and with minimal expense. But more on that toward the end of this video. For now, let's just focus on disassembling this Mauser 1910. But first, let's make sure this gun is cleared. And by the way, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. First of all, allow me to share a few tips with you before we begin. These could save you a lot of pain and time later, so trust me here. First, I like to set the parts aside in the order and the position in which I remove them. It's good to note spring directions as well, although the firing pin spring and guide rod springs on this gun are not directional. This will help in reassembly. I even mark some parts, etching a little scratch sometimes so I know how to return them in the proper direction. I'll also take a lot of pictures as I go. Second, I suggest you get a parts diagram before you attempt disassembly. I usually just go to the Numerich website and print out a copy-paste picture for a basic reference. Even better, Numerich will sell you a schematic parts list for only $1.50. I've bought these schematic parts list diagrams for other guns I've worked on, and it's been well worth it. Now, if you've taken time to lay out your parts carefully as you go and taken pictures as you go before you remove a part and after the parts have been removed, reassembly should now be easier. As I admitted earlier, I've already repaired this little gun and it's functioning fairly well, so at this point I'm just showing the steps for disassembly and reassembly for instructional purposes. But before repairs, this particular Mauser 1910 pistol would not release the firing pin when the trigger was pulled, nor would the slide stay locked back after racking with an empty magazine inserted, or stay locked back when racked without a magazine. I mention this because if you're trying to disassemble this gun, you may have troubles performing some of these steps if the gun is not functioning properly. That's the bit of a challenge that I faced. So you may need to improvise a little, such as leaving a magazine in the gun to lock back the slide to remove the barrel. But you shouldn't have any problems if the pistol is functioning as it should. Let's begin with step number 1, lock the slide back. You should be able to do this with a magazine still in the gun. Step 2, push the takedown catch to release the takedown rod. Push down while rotating the takedown rod counterclockwise to the 3 o'clock position. Then pull the rod out from the gun. Step 3, lift the barrel straight up and off the gun. Step 4, next we'll remove the slide. This typically requires a couple of steps. What should happen is you release the magazine without fully removing it, and while holding on to the slide, return the magazine, which will allow the slide to move a bit forward, but it won't come off at this stage. You have to drop the magazine again, and the slide will move fully forward for removal. Watch out for the recoil spring and rod as well as the firing pin spring here Keep a thumb on it just in case it wants to go flying. The magazine can now be completely removed from this gun. Step 5, while removing the slide, the recoil spring and rod can also be removed. That's all I'm going to do with this slide. I recommend you not try to remove the extractor unless it's absolutely necessary. Most gunsmiths would suggest you leave it alone throughout the disassembly, and that's good because, to be honest, I don't have a clue about how to remove it, so sorry. Step 6, this is when I'd also remove the firing pin and its spring here. You may need to pull the trigger to release the firing pin and the firing pin spring. By the way, the recoil spring and firing pin spring directions does not matter. Okay, this is as far as you would usually go for field stripping, but because we need to disassemble the internal parts for cleaning, we're going to continue on. And as I already mentioned, the good news is that the Mauser 1910 is very easy to disassemble. Only minimal tools and expertise are required. And also remember that this disassembly procedure is the same for the Mausers 1910, 1914, and 1934, so these instructions will apply to any of these guns. Okay, next, step number 7, I'll start removing the grips using a hollow ground bit, and once the screws are removed, press down a little on the magazine release while you carefully slide the one-piece grips off. Step number 8, going back to the magazine, let's remove the base plate and spring from the magazine. By the way, note the end of the magazine spring sticking out here. Just push it up a little and slide the base plate off. Note I'm leaving the magazine follower alone. The dents in the lower part of the magazine won't allow it to come out, so I'll have to work around that. Step number 9, to access the internal parts I need to remove the side plate. I just push up on the right side here and the plate rotates up for removal. Note the tabs on either side that hold it in place. Step number 10, note how this little spring sits here. This is the trigger bar spring. You can do this without a tool, but I'm going to use a small pliers here to grab the trigger bar spring and remove it. Also note again that I'm maintaining the position of the parts as I remove them. Step 11, with the spring pressure off, I can now remove the safety catch here. Lift up and to the front to remove. Note it's got a hooked end here. Step 12, now I can remove the safety catch release here. It just lifts up and off. And note the lower tab here. Step number 13, next we remove the trigger bar. It should just lift out. Step number 14, now we remove the disconnector, this little piece here. Step 15, okay, I'm going to remove the trigger by releasing the spring pressure, and then I'm going to remove the trigger spring too. Step 16, I now need to remove the magazine catch spring. This is the long leaf spring here. It rides all the way up here to the ejector hold open catch. It needs to pass by a cutout here, so push it up and away as you pull it down and pass the cutouts to remove. I'm going to assist it a little by using a screwdriver to pry it out a little. There it goes. Make sure that when you return it, it's the same direction as it came out. I'm noting my scratches here on the underside. And finally, step number 17, with the magazine catch leaf spring removed, I can remove the ejector hold open catch and sear. Okay, that's pretty much all that is needed for complete disassembly. Now, a few words on problem solving. Briefly, this gun was quite dirty internally, mostly fouling buildup from combustion byproducts and dried oil. So once disassembled, I put these parts through an ultrasonic cleaning bath. By the way, I plan to do a video on the Central Machinery ultrasonic cleaner from Harbor Freight that I used for this cleaning in another video, so stay tuned for that. The ultrasonic cleaner did a pretty good job, and it was only $100. Next, I inspected the parts carefully for cracks or wear or damage as best I could. Nothing looked obvious to me. Finally, I took this opportunity to replace the recoil and firing pin springs. After all, as a 100-year-old gun, springs are typically pretty well weakened by this time, even if the gun has not been fired. A set of new springs for a delivered cost of about $20 was a cheap investment for the chance at a better functioning gun. Now it's time to put this gun back together. Reassembly is basically just the opposite of disassembly. With everything cleaned up, let's get back to putting this gun together and check it for function. Step 1, I'm starting with the return of the ejector hold open catch and sear part here. It sets on this pin on the frame. Step number 2, with the ejector hold open catch in place, I can return the magazine catch spring. With the scratch side facing the right direction, I can slide the spring into place until it clears the cutout section here. Step number 3, now I can return and move the trigger spring to allow for the trigger to be replaced. Step 4, let's put the disconnector back in place. Step 5, this will allow us to return the trigger bar. Step 6, placing the lower tab in here, I can now return the safety catch release. Step 7, now let's return the safety catch. Step 8, let's return the trigger bar spring, remembering its original orientation. There you go. Step 9, now we can return the side plate. Start it on the left side like this and rotate down. Step 10, let's return the grips. Step 11, okay, let's return the firing pin and spring to the slide. Step 12, let's return the recoil spring and rod to the frame. Step 13, we should be able to return the slide to the frame now. Catch the recoil spring, and then the ejector hold open catch here may need to be lowered for the slide to ride back. Lock the slide back on the frame. Step 14, return the barrel to its hole. Step 15, return the takedown rod and depress the takedown rod release button to allow the rod to rotate down to its 6 o'clock position. Step 16, return the magazine spring with the little projection at the bottom to clear the base plate. Slide the base plate into place. And step 17, insert the assembled magazine and allow the slide to ride forward and test for function. And that's it. Now before we end today's video, I'd like to remind you, if you haven't already, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe down below. And thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video to be helpful. Okay, so wrapping up, my original reason for the disassembly of this Mauser 1910 was that it had some functioning issues and wouldn't fire. I got it cheap, but if I could get it to work, then I might have gotten a nice little 1910 at a good price. So let's test it for function. With an empty magazine inserted, will the slide lock back when racked? It does. Excellent. That's a good sign. Now with a couple of dummy rounds in the magazine, we'll pulling the trigger, release the firing pin. Okay, how about that? Well, it appears we have a working gun. Now I should be able to remove the magazine on an empty gun with the slide remaining locked back. The slide should stay back until I reinsert the magazine. Nope, it releases when I remove the magazine. Well, that's not right, so something is still wrong. I'm guessing it's a worn ejector hold open catch, and that's too bad because they're very hard to find and usually quite expensive. The good news is that otherwise the gun seems to function just fine. So with the parts cleaned and a little oil, along with a new set of recoil and firing pin springs, we appear to have a working gun again. Fortunately, Wolf Gun Springs had both springs for about $9, a total of under $20 with shipping. Lucky cheap fix for me. And not a surprising cause of the problem. This gun is 100 years old. As springs age, they lose their tension, especially when they are stored with the spring compressed. Fouling and dirt buildup can also affect the gun's function, so combined with new springs, now that the gun is clean, it seems to be working well enough. If I could find a new ejector hold open catch, I'd replace that for an optimum performance, but as I said, they're hard to find and quite expensive. So I'll just have to be happy with this gun as it is, which is still pretty good. This is a nice little pistol. Well worth the effort it took to get it back into action again. So there you are, disassembly and reassembly of the Mauser 1910 or Mauser 1914 or Mauser 1934. Hope you found this video useful, and remember, any weapon you carry is better than the one you left at home. Thanks for watching. Hope you'll be back for my next tabletop review. Until next time, stay safe.